Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on patching Zig's language server in order to get it to report progress as it does stuff in the background. So context here is we are working on a visualizer for code bases. The idea here is that we group every type, function, variable, whatever into like sections of this like graph, right? And we eventually want to show this graph kind of like on the side of the screen, but like annotated with some sort of useful information, right? The idea here is that like I'm going to hook up my image editor to this thing, or not my image editor, sorry, my text editor to this thing. And as we are working on different areas, the text editor will tell the graph, hey, focus in on this stuff, right? So we've got kind of like the world's like worst prototype here, where I can go in here and I can like crank up like a ratio of this thing, right? So, we see that like we're using the text renderer and the text renderer connects to all of these other nodes. Eventually we're going to have to like weight these things in a way that they can like show valuable information and then like maybe like say what components of the code base are being heavily used, etc., whatever. We're hoping we can find some way to show like condensed information, basically. In order to like build up this graph that you're seeing, we ask a language server, i.e. when I go into like Vim and I go like into main and I say jump to definition on this thing, like, or find usages of args. But what happens here is Vim has spawned a program under the hood. I should say NeoVim is like probably more correct here. I don't think Vim does this by default. But we have spawned a process under the hood and we like throw JSON blobs over standard in and standard out at that thing. And we say like, hey bud, where are all the references to this guy? And he goes like, oh yeah, I know where those are here. They're here, 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 and here, and here, right? Now the problem here is that we use this in our like indexing process, except that since this like the language servers are kind of designed to be used as like editor plugins, right? If you were to start indexing a large project and it was going to take a long time to finish, you might still want intermediate results as you go, right? That's kind of like probably the vast majority of people would prefer that they get some references instead of no references, right? And so when we spawn Zig's language server, we go, hey, where are your references? And if we ask too quickly, he won't have all the answers because he needs to run, he needs to like process like the build file in order to figure out how like modules are linked together. And the way that he processes the build file is like to actually run the build. And if your build is like kind of slow, it takes some time. Anyways, you can't just say, spawn the language server, hey, quick, like, wake up. Where is all my stuff, right? You can't do that. He needs some time to wake up. He needs some time to figure things out. And the way that we work around this right now is we can build the language server in like single threaded mode, which means that he will have to do all of this stuff before he responds to us. But in like normal builds of ZLS, it's done asynchronously with no real reporting of when it's complete. So what we want to do is we want to add reporting. And there is like a generic real language server way to do this. Which means that if this is like a real thing that is useful in other cases, we might be able to get it merged. I'm not going to make any promises here, and I don't even know if I want necessarily for it to get merged, but like at least we can have some value there, right? So if I like, let's pivot for a second. If I open up Visual Studio Code in the QEMU source code, and I open a C file, down here in the bottom, we see that he is going, I am indexing. How does he do this? Well, the language server supports him telling us. So there's this thing called $/progress. And if we look up the language server spec, we can find what the expectation for this thing is. So we're going to do like progress. The way this thing works, as far as I understand it at this point, is there's this thing called like work done progress. And this thing is initiated by the server. The server goes, okay, I'm going to index some stuff. And I'm going to send this request. I'm going to write to standard output, which you, the person who spawned me, is going to listen to. And I'm going to say, hey, could I please create a work done progress thing? Which we technically have to say we support. After he does that, he starts sending out like work done messages. So he sends out like, hey, I am starting some work now. And this is the name of that thing. And here is a message or a percentage. And then as he continues on, every update, he says, okay, I've done some stuff. Here you go. Here is like the new message and here is like the new percentage. And at the end, he says, I'm done. right? And so I've kind of like proven that a little bit as well by in VS Code I have stolen some of the logs from ClangD, the C++ indexer, C++ indexer, and we see that same like set of parameters. So he says like, hey, could you please create this like work done process? It's called background index progress. This is like the token for that thing, and I will send you updates for that. And he says like, okay, I'm beginning a background index progress, and could you please use the title indexing? So that's how this guy, sorry, over here, this is how where this indexing comes from. I'm pretty sure is that he says here indexing, right? And then he says, okay, here's a report. This is the current message. Here's how far I've got. Report message. Here's how far I've got. Blah blah blah. And then I'm done. So my thought is we kind of add this to ZLS, and then in our like indexer, our like code-based visualizer database builder, we can just look for an end with a specific token, right? And if we do that correctly, this should be able to be, we should be able to implement this in a way where this will work for any language server, right? We can imagine that we could make this work for ClangD right now, right? By literally just saying, hey, let's wait for background index progress. And when we see background index progress as end, okay, we're okay to start building our graph now. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Let's try to add that shit to ZLS and see what happens. It would be cool if we got it to work. Okay, intro done. And let's just fucking run it. Run it down, baby. Okay, so we have forked ZLS already to backport some fixes onto 0.13. So we can probably start here. And we'll call this 0.13, 0.13 progress, we will call it. And I guess what we have to do is we have to go into the section of the code that that does background indexing, and he's just gonna have to start like emitting events, right? I don't really know kind of like what the model here is in how they like send messages. When we were poking and prodding at this yesterday, we did find this like send to client thing, who is called by their like main server thread. Is their server thread a thread or is it a thread pool? How does their like thread pooling work? I know that ZLS has multiple threads in it. I don't know where those threads begin. So I think that's probably where we have to start. ZLS might be interested in a patch that found progress. I found this I think I've read this GitHub issue. Yeah, from 2023. No. Oh, there's a. Dude, fucking. Oh, this is just author. God damn it, dude. 1201. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the issue that I've read. Yeah, I have seen this. So I will probably like I need to look into like what their expectations are on like contributions and stuff. I don't want to just do like a drive-by PR, but I will look into seeing if I would like to contribute it back if it makes sense. Okay, so we need to figure out what their like threading model is, right? Someone in ZLS is sending things over the wire, and we need to make sure that if we are in a different thread doing work and we like propagate some stuff over the wire from there, like is that what we're supposed to do? Maybe we have to send the message back to the main thread that does the like the communication, or you just have to make sure that we're not like accidentally adding like race conditions between two areas, right? So it looks like in main they create a server and then just in the main loop they call server loop. So this, as far as I understand, single thread so far, right? In our single main thread, he says, while I keep running, I'm gonna try to read some stuff from the other side, right? From the people who spawned me. They're gonna ask me to do stuff, and when I read a JSON message, I'm going to send that JSON message. Is that reasonable? What is happening here? I received this thing. Send JSON message must be actually push job. Okay, send JSON message, I would argue a little bit of a funny name, but sure. He's saying send JSON message to the server. And that's to the server, we push a job. Okay, then this job queue says, I have some shit to do. Okay, and if I'm single threaded, I will do that shit right now. Otherwise, there's some sort of sync mode associated with this thing. And I see. So this job requires exclusive access to the server. This job requires shared access to the server and document store. Other non-exclusive jobs can be processed in parallel. Got it. And this job operates atomically and does not require any synchronization. Got it. So this is where the thread pooling stuff comes in. So theoretically, the pool might ask for a bunch of stuff to happen. Like someone might ask for a bunch of stuff to happen, and we will do all of the stuff before we start waiting for another JSON message. Okay, so he has pushed the job of incoming message. So these are the options here. We have incoming message, generate diagnostics, run build on save. Okay, cool. So that makes sense so far. So this guy is eventually going to call process job here. And this seems kind of weirdly synchronous still, right? I don't see any like threads right now. So this job queue is literally just like a FIFO. Oopsies, I didn't mean to do that. So where do the threads start? Wait group. So we have a thread pool and a wait group. Okay, so the thread pool spawns stuff for these things. Okay. Okay, got it. So in this scenario, where we've got an incoming message, incoming messages are what type of work? If is blocking message exclusive else shared. So this thing might be shared. So if this thing is shared, then he says we've got a wait group, slam that shit over there, and then I don't really know what like wait groups are for yet. But okay, we'll think about that later. So he might, all we need to know is that he might be processing messages on a different thread. Okay, which means that responses can be sent from a different thread just fine, probably, right? Let's take a look at process job. Process job, he's going to like, do some stuff. And in here, I think that he sends the response here, send to client response. Okay, so theoretically, this is allowed to be done in parallel. So send to client internal probably does like a write JSON message. Surely this has a write output lock. Okay, cool. So we are totally fine. We are totally fine to send JSON messages to the client from another thread. That's a good sign. Now, so this is kind of like the main server hub. This is where all the messages go in and out. The thing that we are trying to look at is, we found it yesterday. It's called invalidate build file worker. I believe this is where he actually does the running of the build and processing. So he calls load build configuration, which does the expensive work, right? Because he actually runs Zig build here. He calls like prepare build runner args. He runs Zig build with a build runner. He collects some stuff out of that, but kind of the main thing here is like, this is the expensive part. So what we kind of want to do is here, we need to somehow say like, I guess it's kind of like here we want to go like starting, like indicate to client that we are this is a bad file to be playing with. Can we delete this? This is gonna fuck me later. I think it was because I was cherry picking something and it had to merge. God damn it. Okay. What was it? Invalidate build file worker. Okay. So here we need to say, yo, doing expensive work, right? And then here we gotta say, like, probably it's actually even like at a higher level, right? We kind of want to say that we're ready to go when the data is like finished. So it's like, yo, doing expensive work here. And then here we say, okay, done. Now, ideally, we would have progress reports in here, and we would have some sort of like fancy little message like they had for ZLS, indexing this much stuff, right? But I was looking at this a little bit, and I think that like trying to figure out how much of the build we've run is like pretty non-trivial. If you look at like the build runner in here, they do have this concept of like progress nodes, but this is kind of more for like outputting multiple parallel things in ASCII on the terminal. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I believe this like stood progress thing is, yeah, you see things like sig winch in here. Where did I see that? Yeah, like stuff like this. Like this is very like terminal terminal mode, right? This is very like terminal emulator specific. So there is like this concept of people updating these progress nodes, but I think it's not trivial to get that information out. I think. So like run steps. This is kind of where the build is actually does the running, I would assume, just based off the name. I don't really know. I haven't really looked too carefully at this. They start like a thread pool, they do all this shit. Anyways, I think that like trying to figure out how much of the build is run is like not required by me, a little out of scope, and not required, right? I think that if you look at this this specification for the language server work done thing, this says like percentages are optional percentage to display. Can we like make this wider so that it like doesn't fucking what just happened? Fuck! I hate when things move. Oh my god, where did we go? Work done report. Work. I'm not gonna lose my mind. I'm not gonna lose my mind. I'm not gonna lose my mind. We're fine. Work done progress. Okay. Optional progress percentage to display. If not provided, infinite progress is assumed and clients are allowed to ignore the percentage value in subsequent report notifications. The value should be steadily rising. So it looks like if we omit this thing, it should just show like a spinner or something instead of like a spinner with a progress bar or whatever, right? And then our message, instead of us like writing this, we could just say like running build. And I think that would be fair. I think that would be totally fine. So all we need to do is we need some way for the document store who is running this thread to be able to send messages to the client. I don't know if like that's kind of outside the design of this thing. It seems like document store doing JSON writing seems a little fucky wucky to me, right? But if I were to just kind of jump into this code base and do whatever the fuck I felt like, which is what I'm doing, which is not really like the way that you're supposed to do things in open source probably. I think what I would do is I would say that the server seems to be in charge of JSON messaging, right? When we have this like send client notification, this is all like in server.zig, and he's doing writing. So if we claim that that's kind of like the server's responsibility, maybe what is a reasonable thing for the document store to have is a way to notify someone that he has done things. Right? So we could do something like, why are there two document stores? Oh, one of those is scope, sure. So we could take in some sort of like notifier, right? Which is going to be some sort of like for lack of a better name, expensive operation, like operation notifier, right? This is not going to be the final name for this thing, but I'm just gonna say that's what it is for now, right? And we could say that this thing is generic. All like for fix me rename, of course, right? Rename to something more sane. But we could say that this thing has a function that's like start work, notify start, right? And he could take in like title, right? Like name maybe. And we could also have a notify end. Okay. And if we do that, we could just use some sort of like runtime inheritance or like runtime vtable bullshit to like feed in something that will do like the real work of like sending that notification to the client, right? So we could do like the typical like context is any opaque here. And here you could do something that's like a vtable is like a vtable. Now, you could also do this with like compile time stuff, right? You could do a compile, you could take in like an any type here and then say that he has to have a notify start and notify end. I think that for the purposes of this, I have no problem with this being a runtime thing. I think that maybe this could be something that a reviewer could choose to tell me that should change, and I would be okay with either way. But my gut points me towards doing it at runtime. Just because, like, in my mind, the compile the idea of having to like any types I think are harder to work with is kind of like my gut feeling, right? Maybe if the tooling was very good, it wouldn't be that annoying, but like jump to definition on that type of thing can be a bit of a pain. And like the build has to like make one new function that does the same thing for every type that you pass in. You know, it's like the benefits of like compile time, uh like, what do you call it, polymorphism, I guess. Like the benefit of using like any types there is that it's like more optimizable, right? The compiler knows exactly what type that is and it can like make decisions based off exactly that type. But for something like this where we're just like literally once in a while just like slamming some shit on the wire, like who cares if it's more efficient, would be my argument. It's like it's not going to be noticeable, it's not going to matter. So that's why my gut says do it runtime inheritance first. But again, you could totally make the argument that's like why waste minor cycles if you don't have to. But this is how I'm going to do it for now. So this is going to be a function pointer that takes in the context and the name. I also find it hard to find what kind of interface a function requires in documentation when I see any type. This has got better. Maybe this has got better than last time I checked out Zig. Yeah, that's another one for me for sure as well. Right? Like the type, having a runtime type forces that exact interface. Where the compile time type, you kind of just like huck stuff at it and then you have to do like compile error messages to like slowly push the person in the right direction. But it's a lot easier this way, I find as well. I find typically, like, not just in Zig, but just like generically, I feel like runtime inheritance is like much more supported by the language. And like the compile time stuff is kind of like, you know, anytime you're talking about like shapes of structs, you're kind of like out to lunch a little bit. I think errors here are pretty reasonable because we know that we are going to be we're going to be throwing out, we're going to be like writing stuff to the wire. So we know that there are going to be errors. We could probably specify an error type here, but again, if it's going to be generic, I think any error is probably easier. Runtime errors are easier to deal with, I think. Probably, maybe, I don't know. We could also do like error casting if we needed to, but this is fine. So here we take in self as some sort of expensive operation notifier in both of these. And in both cases, we just call self vtable their thing with the context and the name. Boom. Like this. And I guess we write try here on both of these. All right. So now we can just call like here notify start of loading builds configuration. Right? And here we say we're done. And arguably, I think that this is actually used in multiple contexts. I think this is used on like build on save as well. So we might actually want to like parameterize this name for like you know, build on save or something, or like and like initial load. But for now, we'll just kind of do it like this. Okay, so now everyone who uses this thing is gonna be fucking mad. No check step, that makes sense. Maybe defer notify end. Yeah, I guess you're right. We are kind of returning early, huh? I wonder if there's like a way to report like failure in this way. It would maybe be nice if like on end. We can, yeah, we can say like, so maybe we do like defer notify end here. And here we say like end message is equal to failed. Right? And then here we just say end message is equal to success. And then we can pass in like the message here. Right? And then that way we can indicate if we failed or not. Maybe even on, like, is it reasonable to say like success on like maybe the only case where you want to say something is on failure. But maybe this is fine. We'll see. Maybe we can play around with this in Visual Studio Code later and see like what their UI kind of expects from us, and then that'll give us a bit of a clue for if it's reasonable or not. And we'll say end message here. All right, cool. So now we just have to take the people who use this thing and start hucking in what we care about. So this guy needs the notifier, and then notifier, boom, boom, boom. And then notifier here as well. Okay. Cool. So now this guy needs that thing. Expensive operation notifier, which means that everybody who calls this needs that thing. Okay. I'm sure this is gonna. You know what? This is going to. We can do this like pass everywhere in the world thing eventually. But what if, for now, to make things easier for ourselves, we did we just allowed it to be part of the. He's just part of the document store. I think that's fair. That doesn't seem unreasonable, and it'll make our lives easier for now. Right, so here, just instead of notifier, we can go self.notifier like this. We can always come back, and if it feels like it makes more sense for it to live somewhere else, that's fine. But we can have like a long-lived like notifier here, right? That doesn't seem crazy. Does not seem that crazy to me. Because then it just makes our lives easy. And then on construction of this thing in the server, we can just construct what we think that is. I assume that the document store is like constructed by this guy, but I don't actually know. So in server, he has document store like this. How does he like construct the server? He just calls create. No parameters passed in, so he must create the document store. Boom. And it looks like we can just be like notifier here, right? And this is gonna be like document store, expensive operation notifier, CTX is equal to probably server is fine here, right? So we have server passed in like this, and we can have like vtable is expensive operation. I guess we can call this like progress report vtable, something, right? And then we could be like const progress report vtable is going to be a document store expensive operation notifier vtable. Boom. And now we just have to specify the notify start and notify end, which can just be like notify start here. Progress start maybe is a better word for this, and progress end here. So from the perspective of the document store, he's notifying, right? But from the perspective of the server, we should say what the notification does, which is like indicate progress to somebody. I think that's fair. And then all we have to do now is make like progress start and progress end. Somewhere. So maybe it should live like nearby send to client notification. I feel like that's a fair place to slap him. Nearby show message seems reasonable, right? They have like the idea of just like general messages. And we're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna specialize a message for progress start. Okay. Seems reasonable so far. Progress start, progress end. and this takes a message here. And so now all we have to do is be like, on start, we have to send this create work done progress thing. We need to send essentially this thing. So this is like send work done create. Then we send the begin message with title. And then on end, we send the work end message with message. Okay. Cool. Cool. So I guess the first thing we have to do here is do a little const server is server, which is a pointer cast align cast of server, or context. We probably have to be careful about like locking here, right? The locking, like what does this thing need in terms of like shared locking? What is this protecting? Like when they talk about like running something as like shared, like what is that actually doing? Generate diagnostics. It's probably that in here, is he doing like shared locking? Interesting. I mean, we know that like the lock that the client sent a client notification. I think we're like pretty confident that this guy does whatever locking he needs, right? He's not using any like server state in here, is he? Just the allocator, and the transport is locking the output lock by himself. So I don't really see a reason why we need to worry about locking in here. But maybe we'll put a comment there just to flag to a potential reviewer that it should be fine. Called from document store. Called from document store worker thread pool. Should be safe as all functions used have internal locking. I think that's fine. Do we want to think about the fact that you might have multiple build files processing at once? That seems possible, in which case we might end up with like stacked starts and ends. So maybe each, like we might need some sort of like token, like ID for multiple build files building at once. It seems like that's like a possibility that we're gonna have to think about, but let's cover that later. Let's just start with something and then we can come back to it. Okay, work done create. How the fuck do we do that? Self like server send to client request is probably the first thing we do. We need an ID, which is not good. This comes from register method. Send to client request. Is this guy kind of handling ID allocation manually? Types message ID. Oh. They're using strings for their IDs. We use integers in our code base, but in their code base they use strings. And so we just have to make sure that that string is like unique. That seems reasonable. Like, is there any other cases where they're doing like ID allocation? IS configuration. Cringe. Sure. So they're kind of like claiming in most of these guys that there is only one person who could be doing this. So we can make that same assumption for us. That's kind of fair. So we'll just say like progress. That's fine. And then we'll put a fix me here. Like, what if multiple progresses at once? Okay. And is it true then? Like, do we need to wait for a response from the server or from the client on this thing before continuing? I wonder. The document referred to this kind of progress as server initiated progress. Okay. So when I call this thing, the token can then be used to report progress during the same notifications used as for client initiated progress. The token provided in the create request should only be used once, e.g., only one begin. Many reports and one end notification should be sent to it. Okay, sure. So what we are seeing in the Clang D version of this thing is they just huck a like fixed string at this thing and then use it as tokens later. So this is just the way of registering the token, in which case we probably don't need to care about the response. You know, hand wavy, I think we can just like huck it over the wire. Fucking call it a day. Okay. So what do we have to send with this thing? Work done, progress, create. We also need to check if the client supports this thing. So fix me, check for client support. But we will handle that later. Let's just try to get this stuff like stubbed out. So what is sent with this thing? I mean, we have like the shape of it here, but I want to know like the actual params. Work done token, is that's on text document reference. That's when the client is asking us for like lazy things. But what about on server initiated? Like it doesn't say what the fucking message type is. Bruh. Can we look for token here? Token. Progress params token question mark value. That's not what they did. They just have token progress. Oh, here. This is it. This is it. Work done progress create params. Okay, so how do they do like params generation in like the rest of this fucking code base? Right? Like in other cases where they do like types show message params seems promising. Okay. So this is ID method param. So our method is this shit, right? Boom. And the params looks like they can come from like, I think that they should have everything here automatically. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh baby. And now we just get to throw our token in here. And we'll just call this like I don't know. Build progress token. I don't know. We could throw a fix me on here and say like, should this be provided by the caller? Question mark. Because like arguably, I guess like if we're saying this is like a generic progress function, which maybe it shouldn't be, right? Maybe this should be build progress start. But if this is like a generic progress start, then like theoretically other callers of this thing could have different reasons. Like the hard coding the fact that the build is part of this feels like it should either be part of the function name or not in here at all, you know? But fuck it for now. And maybe we should actually do like a progress token, because we are going to have to use this later, right? So we'll use this here. Boom. By the caller of progress store. Okay. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to send the notification of update. So that's kind of like this stuff here. So we say send to client notification method progress token. So the params here are what? What are they like officially called? Work done progress. So we're gonna have work done progress begin. And does this guy have anything other than method params? No, so we're chilling. We're chilling. Work done. Progress begin. Okay, so this is going to have kind as hardcode as begin. Hell yeah. Title is the thing that we pass in. Message, maybe, arguably, we should have some sort of initial message. But maybe we'll kind of see how this plays out and then come back to it if we want other stuff. So we know we want percentage to be null, message to be null, everything's null. We just throw in our title. Chilling. Okay, and then on end, wait, what about our token? Where's the token come from? Does the begin not have? Oh yeah, he should have token. Where is my token? Is it because the token is actually one level up? Ah, yes, it's params is token and value. So this is probably actually wrapped in another type here. I think we saw that the progress field here has token and value. So this is the value. But does that mean, like, how do they represent progress params in here? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. We're gonna have to, I'm gonna slap a, like, note on here to, like, ask in the PR or something if I ever make it that far. But we'll say, is there some generic type for this? But for now, we will just pass in, I guess, a struct that has value like this, right? And token is progress token. And hopefully that this will, like, derive the right type such that, like, the thing underneath knows what to do. We might have to, like, make a real struct for this, but this will probably be good enough for now. And on progress end, we extract the server, we write the same note on top, bing, bang, boom. And here we use work done progress end, and the name is no longer, this is no longer title, but this is going to be like message probably, is message. Seems reasonable to me. Seems reasonable to me. So I guess the last piece here is we have to check the client capabilities. So the client capabilities for this thing we saw somewhere. Somewhere in here they go like the client needs to say that they support this shit. Maybe it was on work done progress create here. Yeah, here under the window work done progress. So somewhere else they have like client capabilities, right? Supports all this stuff. So we just have to find where they assign these, which is on initialize handler. Hell yeah. Do they have any like window? Do they look at the window here? It doesn't look like it. I'm assuming that it is window in here, right? Window. Client capabilities window. So capabilities is a client capabilities. Yeah. So we should be able to go like if capabilities, maybe we sort them alphabetically, which means that window would come just before workspace. No. After capabilities, it would go here. It would go here. Window here. Yep. Hell yeah. We should be able to say if window work done progress, like this, we'll say server client capabilities supports work done progress is equal to WDP, baby. And then that means that like this is set once. So I think it's fine. And then we just have to set like the initial value to false. So we don't support that thing unless we explicitly say we do. And then down in progress start and progress end, we literally just say like if server client capabilities dot work this. We return if he does not support it. And then this actually had to return any error here, right? And then this had to write try probably. This is surely failable, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, and then we do the same shit down here. Boom, boom, boom. And this was try. Okay. I'm at like maybe like 75% that this will work. There's like a good chance of first try success here. It's like a pretty good chance. Fuck. I mean, once we get compiling, let's not get crazy here. Progress token. I need to put some ampersands on these things because I think these are arrays by default. We need to coerce them into slices. No. Found pointer. Okay. I was wrong. What is this like progress token? Do they have like a special type? They do. Okay. So we just do it like this. Fine. Fine. If you're gonna be like that. Fine. Value is ignored. Yeah, what the fuck is that shit doing? Alright. Alright. Is that what they do? They just insta-free that shit? Yep. Alright, alright. If you're gonna be like that, vtable is pissed off because I think I forgot an ampersand. Here. Alright. Sick. Fuck! I was close. 856. I guess we'll just log it. We don't have, like, there's no reason to, like, full fail here, I don't think. I will say, failed to notify about, failed to notify build config start. Error this. Oh, I thought you had to do error name on these. I didn't realize. And I guess technically, like send end message is true, and then here's send end message is false, and then we say like if send end message, and then we kind of do the same thing here, where we check if this fails, and we'll just like log an error. But again, no reason to get crazy with it. This is plenty good enough. Build config end. Yeah, good enough for me. Although I have to keep remembering, in this scenario, me is not the one who matters. What's he pissed about? End message. Bro. 878. 878. Oh, it's here. Oh, I see. They want, this is like an array type, but we have to coerce it into a slice type. So I think if we do that, everything kind of just works out. I think. Okay, so I'm curious now. I don't really know what happens if we just try to use this in Visual Studio Code the way it is. I'm kind of curious to see what happens there. So if I do like code here, and I install ZLS. Yes, I trust the author. The author's me. Shut the fuck up. Zig, I guess, is just this one. And then can we modify the configuration? I would like to install ZLS. Thank you very much. Can we go to our like settings and look for like ZLS path maybe? ZLS path. So here we have like home, streamer, work, code map, ZLS, zig out, bin ZLS, right? That's kind of what we're hoping for here. And we're hoping that if I close and reopen this thing, maybe we start getting some interesting messages. So first, let's just go anywhere. It looks like this is in fact working. It would be interesting to see if ZLS is he is claiming to be the one that we wrote. If I close this, that does go away, so that's good. Okay. Let's do a round 2 here. So do we see any indicator of like indexing in the bottom left or anything? No, right? We don't see that. Which is kind of interesting. Does he know about like where this thing lives? He does, so that's good. But again, I didn't see the message. So I'd be interested to see maybe like the logs here about if we initialize with that capability, right? There's a chance that like we have to explicitly enable that shit in the initialize request somewhere. So can we turn on like just like the Uber debug logs here? I know that they exist. ZLS help. There's like message tracing. I'm in the wrong folder. Enable message tracing. So we should be able to turn that on in like the configuration here, probably. Do I have like arguments here? Do you think I can just like huck that shit in the path? Build runner path, additional options. Oh, here we go. It's probably here, right? It's gotta be. Oh, no Vim mode. Fuck my life, dude. What is this? Maybe I don't understand what this is. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to put like, maybe this is like extra things that they send on initialize. It's like a very real possibility. Because this is not an array. This is like a map. So I clearly don't understand what this is. Also, how they have fucking trailing commas in their JSON. This isn't they're fucking liars. It's not JSON. Lying pieces of shit. What is all this other shit? Oh, I guess this probably came from my fucking like I must have some old VS Code config stashed in my like config git repo. That's kind of funny. It's kind of fun. Okay, so what the fuck is this? Additional arguments that should be forwarded to ZLS. Every property must have the format zig ZLS some option name. You will not be warned about what the fuck? That's nothing in terms of fake JSON. Yeah, I know, but it's just like it makes sense. It's just funny. Okay, what happens if I just like huck zig ZLS some option name? How the fuck does this work? Where does this extension come from? VS Code zig repository. Send me over there, baby. Fuck code. Oh. Okay, that one's on me. That one's on me. It was opening it. It was kind of more KD's fault, I guess, for not foregrounding it. I don't know whose fault that is. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's my bad. Can we just clone this shit? Awaria ships with JSON files that are just line delimited bits of dialogue. Hell yeah, dude. Okay, so can we look for what is the property name? It was like additional options. So, what happens here? So for option name in this thing, they take the section out, and then does option exist? They inspect the configuration. Configuration, okay. Do they fucking do anything with this? Option name, result. So what is result here? This looks to be like hand wavy. I would guess that this is part of like configuration. That would be my guess here. Yeah, where is this called? Configuration middleware. Language client options. Yeah. Yeah. Which is sent on start. Okay, so that's not what we want. We want more something that's like, how the fuck do they launch this shit and add arguments? We want like this shit. Args push enable debug log. Args on server options. Command ZLS path args. So there's just no way for me to like inject my own arguments here. This is not possible. Debug log is configuration get. If debug log, they turn this shit on. Okay. So that's got to be in our config somewhere. Ah, here we go. Let's try that. Let's try that. I'm looking for like message tracing. That's what I fucking want. UTF-16? Bruh. I just want to know exactly what the initialize request sent is. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Is there like message tracing anywhere in this thing? Message tracing? No. What we could do though is we could wrap ZLS with a script that calls it with that argument. You guys can't stop me. You can't fucking stop me. I can do what I want. Okay, let's do that. Well, we're gonna get hacky here. We'll call this trace.sh. Yeah, whoever said you could make a bash script. Christoph, you're on the same side. You're on my side. I think you have to user bin env here because I'm on Nix bash, and then I just call like puad zig out. No, not puad. It's like dirname 0. The path of me / zig out bin zls enable message tracing with this shit. I think that's how this works. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like that's fine. And we might need to like specifically try on long level, but that's fine. And then here we just say ZLS traced sh. Okay, close. Where the fuck? I guess we can just do it in ZLS repo. That's fine too. Yes, I trust the authors. Okay, view. Open view. I want like fucking dude. Come the output. No, I want output. Output from ZLS. Okay, so on initialize, did we send anything that looks like we support window shit? Copy. Paste. So what am I looking for? It's like window work done progress true. So ZLS should be claiming, ZLS should be aware of the fact that we support work done progress, right? That's good. So let's try to force it to do that. If we open like build.zig, I believe that this is supposed to trigger that. I mean, or we could go to like find references on something. Go to declaration, maybe find references. Maybe this is a bad thing to try. Like, go to references here. Okay, so he did it. I don't see any indication of progress in here, which is not good. Let's see if we like got the messages though. Somewhere. Can we like just copy paste this whole shit and look for the use of the $ progress thing, or at least the workspace create? I guess we just have to wait. Okay, here we go. Can we look for $ progress? Okay. That's a good sign. So it looks like we did in fact send that shit out. It just looks like Visual Studio Code doesn't seem to have done anything with it. Now it's possible that the end state came very quickly, right? Oh, that's not good. We have a triple end here. That's really bad. So this is the issue that we were saying before, where it might kind of suck if the thing already is already like multiple people are doing this at the same time, which is maybe problematic. Maybe Visual Studio Code doesn't handle that well. That's like a very real possibility. Okay. But, and then let's just make sure that like this kind of matches what we see here. So JSON RPC 2.0, method, $/progress, params, token. This is wrong. This is wrong. So he could be getting fucked by that as well. So that's server token. So it's actually on these guys, the ones that have like everyone this guy needs that dot string here, but everyone else does not. Right? So this guy is like, just fucking slam me a string, please. Because this is not some sort of like predefined type that we're trying to fit the shape of. Let's see if that improves our life at all. If you like Zig so much, why are you using the Rust terminal? Because I don't really give a shit what language people use to write code. I don't think that I should choose my utilities based off like somebody else's coding preferences. Like, it works. Like, I don't know. Silly reason to change your behavior. Oops, I'm in the wrong repo. I didn't want to be here. Hey man, but your stream title is literally Alex Zig. I forgot. I did do that, huh? I do like Zig. That's pretty fun. I just like actually like completely forgot. Okay. So this is a lot better now. Now our progress response has a token build progress token value kind begin, which is matches this. Title loading build configuration. So title, he said indexing. I wonder if he doesn't show anything in the VS Code UI unless we give some sort of like progress update. So we could try also like just immediately fucking sending out another like an update message. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Because it could be that he only shows on reports. So we can try that, see if that changes the behavior at all. So I guess on progress start, we then also do one of these. Nody message 2. It only matters if you plan on digging into the codebase. Yeah, but I find that like reading a codebase is like typically not that bad. Like I don't really find like being like somewhat familiar is nice. But a lot of times it's not the end of the world. No, so can we just say like message? And we'll just use the same name here. And then he'll say like indexing, which is kind of funny. And then what happens if we just also never send the end message, right? Just in case it like happens really fast, this should let us at least trick the editor into thinking it's still happening. And let's see if that changes our behavior at all. I also wouldn't be surprised if like the extension might have to like flag that it supports this thing a little better than like he might actually have to like process this on the extension side. Which would be a little annoying. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay. So here he's like he's sending multiple times, which we think could be a problem for sure. he's like begin report, begin report, begin report. So let's also change this just for hacking purposes to keep track of if he's ever sent this thing. Build sent. Build progress. Build progress in progress. And I guess here we need to, this is like multi-threaded, so we have to be careful about that. So we probably have to do like some sort of like std atomic value bool, right? And then here we're gonna be like, if server build progress in progress dot like load. I don't know. How does this fucking shit work? I'm not really convinced that I'm going to do this right, so let's just use the mutex. I would maybe consider this more if this wasn't like an immediate hack. Seek should be fine. I was more worried about like the order of set and release. I guess if I do like compare exchange here, then it should be fine. Oh, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. It's easier to just throw mutex on it. This is just easier. It's just easier. Server, build progress in progress mutex lock, defer unlock, and then we say like if defer build progress in progress equals true, and then we like say if it's already in progress, return. This is just an easier, it's easier this way, and probably it makes more sense to do it like this. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Is that right? We lock the mutex. We say, okay, set it to true, then unlock, and if we were already true, we get the fuck out of there. Okay, yeah, seems good to me. Okay, so now what? I mean, I guess you could also do a count to do like start and end, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Okay. Was this already open? It might have been. Felt already open there. Okay. So we still see no UI, but maybe this looks a little bit more sane now. So yeah, we literally only have these two lines. We say, hey, we're loading our build configuration, and here's the message. Value kind report message. So the fact that this is not working is a little concerning to me. Is it possible that the work done progress was spelt wrong? Work window / work done progress create. Let's just double check that. Is that what I saw over here? In my copy pasted ClangD logs. It is. Okay. So params : token. Yeah, all of this looks the same to me. Then method $progress. Okay. Chilling there. This goes under params token. So this should be the same token here. Right? Let's just double check. Yep, same token. And then we have the title. Yep. Maybe if we throw in a percentage, VS Code is going to be a little happier with us. That's like a very real possibility. We might as well try. All right, let's just kind of see. Let's see if that changes anything. I doubt it will, but we gotta bisect somehow. We got to bisect somehow. I guess we could also look at the code of like the ClangD plugin and see if he uses background index progress anywhere. So we could look, I guess we go into here and we look at his extension. We go repository and we clone this guy as well. Take a little peeksies. Have you tried Ghosty? I'm waiting till I can get it without having to like work for it. You know, until I can do like Nick Shell, Ghosty, I'm not gonna try. But I'm sure it's great. I don't really think that I really care that much, to be honest. I'm sure it's great, but like, what do I really need out of my terminal emulator? Like, not a lot. Background index. Okay, so I don't see anything about like background index progress in here. What about the idea of like progress? Does the UI need to specifically support progress in this like extension? We do see we do see this. We do see this. I don't know what the fuck any of this is, but we do see some references to progress. And we see progress report in here, which is a little interesting. This is on, oh, but this is on install. So this doesn't really feel like the same thing to me. This doesn't feel like the same thing. It feels like then, like, my gut says that like extension is kind of like the root level thing. Activate, register command, Clang deactivate, get configuration, Clang, yeah. My gut says that install is only used literally when installing stuff. And my gut says, looking at this, that I would bet that the progress bar stuff is supposed to like just work. That would be my guess. I mean, we're really like not being thorough here, but if we were to guess. Okay, I think we made some changes here. I don't remember what. I think we tried to do something. I'm sure it'll come back to me when we just run the code and see what happens. I think, oh, it was we added percentages to the progress notifications. Right, I'm pretty sure that's what we did. So we're looking for, oh, no progress until I open a zig file probably. Still, I do not see anything in UI, but I bet you that now I will start to see those progress messages come in. Hello? Progress? No. What have I done wrong here? Starting ZLS here, enabled message tracing. Did I set this the wrong way? If build progress in progress, this starts as false. Maybe this has to come after this. Seems kind of possible. Maybe the capabilities aren't set till after initialize, but the build parsing somehow starts before that. When would something like this progress indicator actually be used? Refactor code actions? Like when you start a big project for the first time, you might see it. So we can go into QEMU here and we can show you. Like if I launch Visual Studio Code in QEMU, we see down here, ClangD is like, yo, I've got like 2,000 files to index. And so like I'm working on it, but like just FYI, we might not be done yet, right? That's what we're hoping to support here. But clearly we have not got there yet. Okay, so let's copy paste this whole window again and just see if we see something that looks like what we want. Oopsies. Oh god. Oh fuck. Oh no, oh no. Okay, we're good, we're good. We survived. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah, we see it this time. So we need to title this thing percentage 0, progress parameters, kind, report message, loading build configure. Like, so, like, I don't really understand what we're missing here. We might be able to see some sort of, like, error from someone else on this thing. But I feel like, as far as I understand, it feels right to me. It feels right to me so far. Main, maybe? Extension host? Does like any of these guys seem like they're gonna yell at me? Notebook, remote tunnel service, settings sync, shared. Window, maybe? Window feels like it could. Tree input not set. Yeah, nothing in here really looks like it's complaining about our shit either. Is a create message of Clang D the key? In the create message of Clang D, the key of params is Toka, and yours is different. Really? Did I fuck that up? Oh, it does say work done token, huh? Yeah, that's a really good point. Good eye. Good fucking eye. Good eye, thank you. Yeah, interesting. What do they say in the spec? What do they say in the spec? Create. Work done, progress, create. We saw it somewhere. Work done, progress, create params. We're using the wrong thing. It's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be like that. Good eye. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know how long it would have taken me to find that. That's like actually like so life-saving. All right, let's try again. Oh, let's fucking go, baby. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. That says what I fucking wanted to say. Loading build configuration. Loading build configuration. It was like a bad message, but whatever. That's pretty sick. Okay, thank you. That's huge for us. That actually like that's actually great. Okay, so now let's just start like commenting stuff out that we think we shouldn't need, right? So we think we should need this. Oopsies. And we think we should. This seems fine. And then we think that we shouldn't have this if true return anymore because we should be able to end when we want to end. And we think that we shouldn't need these percentages anymore. Those were all things that we added as like hacks. Hacks. This locking we still need though, probably. I think that actually what I want to do here is we want to say like num builds in progress. That's gonna be like you know, an integer that starts at 0. Here we say num builds in progress increments by 1. Right? And then here we say if server num builds in progress is greater than 0, we return, but we increment the count. Then on end, we just say we kind of do something similar probably, where we're like we minus equals 1, and if this is greater than 1, return. I think that's right. What Neovim version are you using? I believe Nightly or even maybe 0.10 already has GCC or GC bound to combinate lines. Oh, I just don't think about it. Yeah, interesting. I've never used that. I'm pretty okay with using the vocabulary that I have, though. It's not like I feel like it's slow to comment stuff out right now. Maybe it is. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. Doesn't really bother me. Okay, we run it again, baby. So now we're expecting loading build configuration, and we're hoping that this thing ends at some point. So when this zig goes away, when all of these zigs go away, I think we expect this to go away as well. It's kind of funny. I think that he's like triple loading the same build config. Not bad. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. But thank you for the tip, by the way. I wasn't like being like, don't fucking tell me that shit. I don't care. I was just saying like, oh, I'm fine with it. But like, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So I think that's kind of like, we have proof now at like a UI level that like the thing is working in the way that is expected, right? Which means that now I think it's probably okay. I think there needs to be some cleanup done there for sure, right? But it's probably okay for us to try to like start using that thing in our code base to make sure that it works for our case. Because like, you know, that's really what we care about. Nobody cares if the little spinner's there. You can tell if the build configuration is running by if your CPU fans are going crazy, you know? I guess we should also test like build on save. Which I think we have turned off right now. But if we turn that shit back on, I think we should see like kind of like the same thing. It is on, actually. Surprising. So should we not see that thing pop back up? Oh, can we do this in a different fucking project? This is gonna... ZLS build takes too long. Can we go into like a... Here. So we open a zig file. He's loading build configuration. We wait for that. Oh, even that's kind of slow, huh? Okay, so that's done. And now if I go in here and I hit save, what, like, should I not see that again? Right, because this is running here. Loading spinner should just be a CPU fan icon or something. Hell yeah. So also, how do I see, like, if I introduce like a compiler here, I assume that this will trigger some sort of like problems. Yeah. I don't understand why I'm not seeing this thing, like the build on save path trigger. You know, like build on save step to check, build on save to true. Do I have zig build check in here? I do. So why is this not doing anything? Because I feel like it should, right? Let's go back to here. Can we look for like a build on save, right? This is going to be done somewhere, right? This is as part of like the top level job processing. He calls build on save, which calls generate build on save diagnostics. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this just takes a different build path. Okay. So like theoretically, it would make sense actually to do like to give the same treatment to this guy. Right? Maybe we could even do that like here. We could do a similar like I missed once when I was using VS Code what happened. Oh, I just don't have like a like the diagnostics thing set up for like progress reporting. So I don't see it. But I guess like here we could easily do something similar. That's like publish build on save start and then like publish build on save end or something, right? I think that would be like maybe reasonable. Or you could like inject that in here, but probably doing it at the top level is like just fine. unless we wanted to do like some sort of progress bar. But yeah, okay. So I think that means that we have the pieces that we need to integrate with ourselves. Did we take out the report message? We did, right? Progress start. Yeah, we did. So we literally only send out progress begin and progress end. Okay, so we should be able to integrate with this in our application. What time is it? 01:25:37. So here, we should be able to say, okay, the way that the app is designed is technically no part of our like code parsing project knows what language it's parsing. Did you write that from scratch, or was that some kind of library? You're talking about like the ZLS thing? ZLS is like somebody else's program. We're just using it ourselves as like, so I guess library is like, it's not really a library. We're using it as like an external program. Okay, so we technically do not know that we are parsing Zig. We just have rules of how Zig looks, and our program parser like uses these rules. The idea here is that like it would be hopefully somewhat easy to integrate this with another language server. So I think that what we want to do here is if we have like some sort of like required wait for the language server to say that, okay, I'm ready, like we could probably put this in here as like language server like ready token, right? And we could set this to whatever the fuck we called it in our thing. We called this like build progress token, right? So we kind of slap this in here, and you could imagine that if we were to implement another config for ClangD, we would write this as like whatever their thing is, background index progress, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Language server progress token, maybe we call it. Okay, then in our config, we have language server progress token. And I think that this should be a nullable, right? Like in theory, they might not get, like we might not have to wait. But I mean, arguably also, what's the point into like, we what's the thing called? Yagni. You aren't gonna need it. I mean, I think it's stupid. I think it's kind of stupid to like quote programming principles. I'm like not really into that, but like they're right. I'm not gonna need it. So like we should delay doing work until we actually have to do it. That's kind of like the whole benefit of writing code for yourself. So I think we'll just kind of hard throw this thing in here. He says you shouldn't do things until you're gonna need it. He says while talking about how Zig isn't in the code base at all. I mean, but I do think I am going to need that. I think that like I want to reduce friction of adding new languages to this thing because I think that there will be a time where we are going to be working in C again, and I just think that it would be easier to do it that way. You know, there's like provisioning for the future in a way that's annoying and provisioning for the future in a way that's not. You know, and I think like abstracting all this stuff into a config file is really not that bad. It's not that bad at all. I'm okay with it. He says justifying previous actions. What's like, you know how people say like, I think logically, but really they're just like post justifying their own emotional actions. I feel like I do that shit all the time where I'm like, I just kind of feel like I want to do it this way. And then later I'm like, but it was logical. It had a good reason behind it. I swear. But it's really just like, I wanted to. Okay. So I think what we do here is in the place where we open all of the files here, we do like a wait ready. We wait till we're ready. Okay? And so here we need a wait ready. Wait ready. Probably needs an allocator, probably. In the case where we are reading back our shit from a recording, the recording doesn't actually talk to a language server. The recording is always immediately ready, so we don't have to do anything. However, if we are in the case where we're actually talking to a language server, we sure do need to do something. So, here we go. Wait ready, please. And in here, presumably we are going to wait for a progress notification of end, right? So I think we just kind of like sit here and we have this like wait response thing that knows how to handle notifications, but he right now only knows how to wait for like a specific response ID. This thing is going to have to change a little bit. Here we're going to change this to say like like wait key is good enough. Union enum, right? And here we're going to be like, well, we might be a response, in which case we were waiting for an I32, or we might be a notification. We're waiting for some sort of like notification, in which case we need to match both the method name as well as the who, that's interesting. Maybe we just wait for the method name here. That way it can be generically useful. And then what we'll do is we'll say that we are going to wait for a notification of this type, progress, and we're going to parse it with these progress parameters. That seems reasonable to me. That seems reasonable. So in here, we can be like, oopsies. Progress notification. Okay. And this guy is going to be a patched message, sure, with the notification method of progress. Which I guess technically we're not guaranteed of when we read this back later, but that's okay. And then on params, we just want kind ? We want token and value. It's token and value, which is, in our case, we're just gonna write kind here. I think that that's needed on all types of progress notifications, I think. And so here, I guess we are just going to say, yo, wait for this response. And the type is going to be types progress notification. And the response is going to be a notification whose method, I guess here, we're just going to write constitute here. We don't need to get crazy. Whose method is progress, right? We're waiting for these bad boys. Okay. Self process stood out, ? Okay. What's he pissed about? Hello? What's he mad at? I forgot the end quote. All right. Yeah, here we go. End quote. Okay. So now here we're going to say like, while true, we're going to try to get a response to this thing. All right. I think we need to try this, and this thing needs to be denuded. Okay. And then we should be able to look for like response value dot params value kind, right? This is what we're looking for. And we say if this is end, then we return. And I think that's it. Oh, we need to match the token too. We need to match the token. So I guess that lives here. Which means that when we construct this thing, we must need to like pass that in somewhere. Like this. This is a really fucking long line, so we throw a comma at the end. We forgot. I don't know, it's really hard to fucking see this shit over the line boundary, but I think it's something like that. And then here we say ready token is a ready token. Boom, bang, bow. And then down here when we're fucking waiting, now we can say that we can go like if this, you know, this, if this is equal to ready token, if it's not equal, continue. Okay. And I guess we can do it kind of this way. We'll kind of invert both ways and then return at the end. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, so now we just need to make sure that when we like construct this guy, we pass in the ready token. So this comes from ready token here, which means that here we need to pass in the ready token here. This thing needs a fucking comma at the end of the line so that when we run the formatter again, he'll fucking figure it out, and we say this. Bing, bang, boom. He compiles. That's pretty cool. So I guess if we run our update test now, I guess he won't work because we actually have to do the wait. Did we do that part? We did. We called wait ready here. So he's maybe good to go. Let's try it. Maybe we didn't save. We probably didn't save. What's he pissed about? Alec. And then surely this has to be tried, right? Surely. Okay. Still mad, notification, right, because we didn't fix the fucking ID types everywhere. So this wait key, we didn't actually do this part, right? So the response key is going to be the wait key or something. I don't really like this name, but whatever. Whatever. So now we say, if we get a response, we then also say, we have to check if our response key is like the type that we want. So here we say like response, we return the value, otherwise we do something else. I don't know what yet. We must like break out of some loop or something. We probably debug log that we got a response with method with got response with ID this. I think that's probably a warning. If we're getting a response without having issued request, that's like a fucking bug. And this comes from ID here. Then we can check if their ID is the same as our ID. Bang, bang, boom. And then down here, I guess we could do it the other way around, actually. That's probably easier. Else we do nothing. Here, and then this moves into here. Yup. Seems reasonable and reasonable. Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? Okay. So now we check if we got we're looking for a notification. And we have some ID, right? Or method. And in that case, we do this thing, and instead of doing this, we check if the method is the same as our method, and we can't do an equals comparison like this because it's a pointer, so we do like std mem equal u8 this thing, that thing. Okay. And then this is like this, and then we return the message, boom, bang, bang, boom. And otherwise, it's okay to get a notification that we didn't want. That's fine. Okay, sure. That's like a maybe. Then everyone who calls this guy now needs to update the way they did this with like this, and there's another one here. Is there not? Here. And I guess like fix me technically this waits for non-responses now. Wait message question mark? Does Zig support WASM? Yep. We've actually done a lot of Zig WASM here in the past. If you look at the... He's down right now, actually. But we made this, like, WASM ball machine thing. Wrong fucking window. We made, let's see if we can like pull them up. Oh, I guess we made this like map with WASM as well. WASM, OpenGL, Zig, I think was this guy. Where's the ball machine? This guy. We made okay, mute me. Oh, he was already muted. Oh my god. Everyone close your eyes. No seeing Canadian political ads. Skip. Let me skip. Rich landlord against new housing. Watch the full. Shut the fuck up. Skip. I don't want to see fucking car ad. I don't want to. Shut up. Let me through. Okay. This thing. Where'd we go? It was like, I guess we have to go back to the very beginning. This thing. This is all WASM Zig right here. Boom, bang, boom. Cool. You mean 51st State ads? Shut up. Okay. Are we fucking chilling or what? Are we fucking chilling? Okay, so this, I hope, should do something. It looks like that wait message thing is not working. Oh, because we have to say that we support update notifications because we actually did this correctly. Wow, look at us go. Look at us. So here we need to say that we have like window capabilities. That were what? Window capabilities, please. Client capabilities, here we go. So we have the window here. Work done progress. There we go. That should do it. So now the other side should be like, oh, we can send him stuff. Sick. Okay, so we crashed, which is a way better answer. So what's he fucking yelling about? It's when we're waiting for a response for progress. He's trying to parse out a generic message. The generic message is anger. Seeing an invalid character. Can we like print the message that we got here? Parse messages type probably. It's probably in here. Message is this. Let's see it, baby. All right. Here. What's he pissed about? Invalid character. Byte offset 32. Is it because ID here? Yeah, it is, huh? It's because our IDs are expected to be integers. Oh, that's annoying. We are expecting integers here. How do we parse this as string or int? What do they do? What do they do in their ZLS stuff? Do they just have like a JSON parse in here? They do, huh? So they just say if it's a string, make it a string. If it's a number, make it a number. I guess. I guess we can do that. I don't really know if I want to. I guess it's pretty like JSON to have IDs as strings or numbers. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm guessing like it's pretty JSON. This like LSP message passing is pretty JSON. It doesn't really have a choice. So I guess it's like kind of reasonable to have like this. I don't know, man. So we go like string number. What if we just always made it a string? No, because then they might pass it to us as numbers, and we'd still have to handle that as well. Fine. Fine. If you're gonna make me do it that way. What's the fucking thing we need to implement here? It's like JSON bars, question mark? Geez. Static, I think. It's in here somewhere. Okay. So they're expecting something that looks like this. Do we not have like the fucking... We don't have the API, huh? Oh, it's okay. We can fucking guess. I guess. We can guess, I guess. Pub function. JSON parse. This is an allocator. This is going to be this and this. Probably this. I don't fucking know, man. Compile log source. This right? Is this right? Ugh. So now everybody who's mad using ID needs to like use them properly. I think it's something like this. Oh, expected type this, found this. Oh yeah, sure, it is true. It is true. He needs to return not void, but ID. What else is he pissed about? Oh god. Oh, compile log output. Okay, we're chilling. Invalid type D for types ID. So somewhere we're logging the ID, and that's a fucking problem. And then this is like a JSON reader and parse option. So I think we're okay to write like this here. That's fine. And then the source I think is like this. Is that what he wanted? No, this thing's like way more complicated. So we're gonna write any type on source. Okay. Okay, so who's pissed off about like this formatting of ID? It's probably in like LSP zig somewhere. Probably we're looking for like this. Here we go. So it's fine. We'll just assume number there. Okay, he's happy. Because the responses should only come from things that we asked for, and we're always going to send requests with numbers. So I think it's actually totally fine for us to like just kind of hack it that way for now. Kind of fine. Okay. So now what? Now we just have to figure out how to fucking parse this thing. What did they do? All right. Yeah, fuck it, dude. Fuck it. What didn't you like about that? I did exactly what they did. Expected this thing found I-64. Oh, sure, because we have to get a little clever here. It's like this. Probably. What does this return? This returns a parse error or T, yeah, so we should be able to go like... Right? Right? Still unhappy? Oh, sure. Fine. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now we literally just still don't care. Is Zig worth learning over Rust for educational reasons? I think that that's like kind of like an invalid question. I think you can't determine whether or not something is worth learning by asking someone else. I think like the reason to learn something is the process itself. So I could tell you why I like learning Zig. That's like a thing I could tell you. But I don't think I can tell you if it's worth it to you. I think that like learning thing like the worthness is like determined by, I don't know, like how much you have like your priority list and like what other things you could be doing with that time, etc., etc. But you know, I like it. I think it worked. I think that it worked. Okay, let's run this like update recording again. We should see this pause while Zig is cranking CPU, right? Then this ends and this immediately starts going again. So I think that means that it worked. That like wait on stuff. We are now correctly like waiting for that progress token. We've like identified the right progress token and we've like kind of like moved on. And so I think that if we just let this guy finish now, we should see a final answer in our tests now that says we did in fact find all the references, right? Because if we, I know that we've been like 2 hours from when I stated the problem that we're working on, but the whole point of this thing was to make sure that when we ask ZLS to give us references between items in our code, that we have them all, right? Because he needs to parse the build script. He was doing that asynchronously, and now we have hacked ZLS, less hacked than yesterday. We've kind of implemented a feature in ZLS that allows him to report whether or not he has finished that action, and we have used that in our code base now to determine if we are ready to fucking go, which means that we should be able to run Zig build test here, and it should fucking pass. Hell yeah, baby, let's fucking go! It's pretty sick. Pretty sick. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I think it is 3:53, which is almost perfect timing for a stream. We try to end at 4, and it's 3:53, so I think that's a perfect place to call it. Yeah, what did we do today? We added this work done progress create thing that sends $/progress things from ZLS, which means that if you were to open up Visual Studio Code and open a Zig file, we should see a little loading bar in the bottom left when it's trying to figure out where things live. Eventually, this loading bar goes away when he finishes, right? Zig, boom, boom, pretty sick. And then we use that feature in our thing to generically say we can wait now for a language server to finish his indexing actions, which means also the way we implemented this should make it work for ClangD as well if we decide to parse a C++ project or a C project, like the Linux kernel, which is pretty sick. Nice job. Do you think you'll send a ZLS PR? I think so, yeah. I'm planning on cleaning up a little bit and sending a ZLS PR. I have to read a little bit about like, I know that like if I, as someone who has had code on the internet, I don't like it when people just swing by and like launch PRs, right? So I need to like figure out what they need me to do before doing that. But I will look into it. I do plan on filing a PR, but I'll do that off stream. Partially because I need to figure out what they want. Partially because I find I don't want like I don't want y'all going to the PR and touching it, you know. So that's like an off stream task. But I will try to get it merged because I think it is useful. It is useful for others. So, and like, yeah, the reason I did it this way instead of some other way is because I don't want to have to use my own hacked ZLS forever, you know? So getting it in is beneficial to me as well. All right, thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 3:55 Pacific time now, so if you're watching live, you should expect to see us online between 3.5 hours ago and now. If you're like, I would like to keep track of your progress on your projects, but I can't watch all the time, there is a YouTube link in the Twitch description where we have our projects organized in playlists. We're working on this map of the code base right now, but we have other things in here if you want to check out the backlog. Code for stuff ends up on the GitHub. We are working on code map repo right now. We're also working on the SVIMP repo. So this is where you're going to see stuff go in. If you're watching on YouTube and you're like, you said 12:30 to 4, these are 2-hour VODs. What the fuck is going on there? It's because we kind of do this thing where we do 12:30 to 2. We call it happy hour, where we kind of work on things that aren't really like titleable, thumbnailable, but are still worth doing. So today we were working on some of the like prep work to get like parsing of notifications to work without having to wait for our server to be able to our client, I guess, to be able to wait on stuff without crashing when it gets an unexpected response, which made like this implementation a lot smoother. So we kind of like do stuff like that where it's like, offside work, maybe prep work, maybe things that'll make us go faster in the future, maybe cleaning up of stuff that we didn't like the way it looked when we finished before. So if you want to watch those VODs, you have to subscribe on Twitch, join on YouTube, or so on Patreon. I think that's all plugging we need to do. YouTube, peace out. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.